we wanted to do something a little bit more risky, a little bit more unpredictable, and maybe be compensated a little bit more for that increasing risk that we're taking on. So in Summer, what we can do is go to actually, it's going to be a little bit of a roundabout way that we're going to have to do this, because today we still support the functional bit of the protocol that you can earn on, but we have yet to actually surface these different like UIs that will kind of give it to you bespoke. So what you can do is go to borrow instead, and even though we're not going to be borrowing anything, how these yields work is that you are being basically paid to lend your assets out in something like AAVE, and a borrower will lend or borrow them from you, or not you specifically in this case, but the pool, and you'll be compensated in terms of an interest rate for lending out your assets. And in this case, we want to say we want to borrow against USDC because that's the asset that we'll use here. And that is, you can see the collateral token, and that means that we're going to be supplying it. And we get a rate of return for supplying this asset. So I'm going to go in anyone here because the rates are going to be all relatively, or should be the same, because we can see here the different rate history for USDC. And what, this is the borrow APY. So we can see that the supply APY for USDC on AAVE is quite variable over time. And there are reasons for this, because the supply and the demand, the utilization of is changing, and as a result, the rate is changing as well. And we can see right now that the rate for USDC is 5.71, so even slightly higher than the DSR, the DAI savings rate, which here 0.71% or 71 basis points that you're being paid extra to take on maybe a little bit more risk, and you have to determine if that's worth it for you, if that's something that you want to be, like, you're comfortable with, basically. So how do we do this? We do this by, in this case, it's a little bit of a roundabout way, because coming very, 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 very soon to Summer will just be the exact same flow as the DSR, where you can just deposit straight in, and it will show you all the nice metrics that you want to see, how much you will earn, how much you've earned to date, easy deposit, easy withdrawal. But for now, we actually have to do it through a borrow position, and all the things that the only way that we're going to do this is by simply just supplying the collateral. We're not going to take on any debt, and we'll still receive the supply rate, which is what we just saw, should be around 5.71%. So let's go with this USDC wrap staked ETH. And I think actually for the purpose of demonstration, this is actually really great, because it's showing you that like how this is actually happening. The reason why you're able to deposit USDC and receive a interest rate or a return on your capital is because you are basically lending it out, and there's a rate that other people have to pay in order to borrow your USDC. And this exemplifies that just so nicely, because it's sort of inverting it for you and saying, hey, you're depositing USDC and somebody else, or you want to borrow something else, at this, in this case, a wrap stake ETH you want to borrow, and you're going to be borrowing this wrap stake ETH from somebody else, and you're going to be paying a rate of interest for it less the supply APY, so how much you're being paid to supply USDC. So it's a really nice way actually of understanding how it works, but in this case we're just going to supply USDC and earn that rate of return. So let's do 300 USDC, and we'll see that we just have to set an allowance here for USDC. I'll do that really quickly. We'll make some magic here, like this just happened in a second. And then, alright, so we've approved USDC, and we can see here that this is, we're not borrowing anything, we're just depositing. So we can clearly see that our USDC after here is going to be 300 USDC. Makes sense, because that's where we're depositing. And you can see that the cost to borrow is negative 5.44%. So actually a little bit less than what we saw on the rates from Block Analytica. So clearly maybe it's just not updating right away or something like that. And we see that we get negative 5.44%, which means we are being paid in this context 5.44%, because this is the cost to borrow, but we're not borrowing anything, so we're actually being paid because we have no borrow. So that is really great, makes sense. So we're going to open this borrow position, but in reality it's just an earn position, but we're making it for the sake of really understanding how this works, and why you're earning this rate of return and why it's sustainable, or it should be sustainable. So confirm. And there we go. Cool. Awesome. So now we can clearly see that we have this USDC deposited in here, and this is going to make it really clear when you go to your position. And again, very soon we'll have the ability to just, this will all, all of these other metrics will be here. You're just going to see how much you're being paid for depositing your asset, USDC in this case, and how much you're being compensated for depositing it. In this case, 5.44%. And it makes it really clear here that the supply APY is 5.44%. So this is the APY that you are being paid in order to supply this asset. And something that's really amazing here and great to understand is that there's a supply APY in AAVE for many different assets. So let's say you want to earn on your ETH. Let's say you want to earn additional yield on your, say, Rocket Pool ETH, or you want to earn on your Wrap BTC. There's going to be a supply APY for all of those different assets. So pretty much no matter the asset in your wallet, you really never have to be sitting just idly with it. You can always make it productive and earn a little bit of a return on it by depositing it in, say, a borrow lend protocol where you can lend it and earn a rate of return. And it should be fairly sustainable. Maybe the rates will fluctuate a little bit over time, and that is something that we'll make abundantly clear here in one of the next releases in summer, where you can just see the rates over time, so that you can really make an easy decision around, this is going to be sustainable yield over time or not, or you can do something else if you want to get a kind of higher risk reward, which is what we're actually going to go into next right now.